Hey everybody, I am back to share the next section of the Life Path notebook. And this section is all about connection and foundations for your life and your life's work. And so again, this is just, the process that I used, I invented it myself, so it could definitely be improved upon, but hopefully this gives you some ideas. So this next page is really about life, what I called at the time life path connection questions. And what I wanted to do is create some means of discerning to help me discern, especially back then because I wasn't as plugged into my intuition as I am now. And so the question here is, how do I decide what to share and where to focus? This is more of a challenge for those of us who, like me, are have a zillion ideas and they're vast and some of them impractical, but you have the dream and you want to go for it. And so I wanted to create these questions or filters that I could run any particularly projects, and this was particularly helpful with for me at the time with creative and business projects. But you can also use it for your life, and actually in the years since I have used it more and more and more for in my just life to help me compared with my intuition and the facts, right, that are examined. These questions have really helped me to make difficult choices where there were multiple directions that I could go. So what I did was I just very simply, I wish I could find, I have a graphic of this, it's much prettier, but at the time all I wrote in my notebook was I wanted filter questions that I could run any decision through. And so these are very related to, back to that qualities of being, but also to your values and principles. They're not aligned directly though. So I wanted very simple questions at the time. I've adapted this since many ways, but these are the questions that I came up with. I thought about, okay, what matters, most to me? What qualities do I want infused in everything that I do or bring forward? And when I look at this list, by the way, there are 7 that I wrote down back in, at least 15 years ago. And of those 7, I would say 3 for sure, maybe even 4 or 5 are still valid for almost anything that I would want to answer this question. I have adapted this and created other tools that I'll share elsewhere. But so here's it's very simple. I just wrote a list of 7 questions, and mine, I'll read them to you, were: is it soulful? That's number 1. Is it innovative? Just because I require things to be, either to do them my own way or to for them to be interesting to me, and so that's an important one for me. Is it visible? That was super important at the time, probably is now too, because I tend to hide from that. But at the time, it was clear that I was diverting my attention repetitively into areas that were avoiding me making the hard choices. And so that was a requirement at the time. Is it positive? Is it expansive? Is it loving? And is it authentic? So, like I said, I've adapted that, but I would just encourage you to take a page and write down any kind of questions. I mean, you could have 21 questions or you could have 1 question. The number is not necessarily important. I did come up with this 7 essential filters kind of process, and later created a little graphic that helped me to visualize that, and I put it up on my board in my office at the time. And that really helped me to decide, is this something I want to move forward, or is this not aligned for me? So today's task is just to identify those questions that will help you to decide what you share and where you focus, or what you invest in, who you engage with. It can really be a useful thing for, really anything in your life or life's work. And then lastly, that adaptation, I just wanted to mention that one thing that I did to simplify this is I narrowed it down to 3, which are still, my top 3. And I created a little visual for me that sits on my desk, but I also use my phone. And especially in the beginning, I would to remind myself to make sure I was living like authentically day to day, sort of. I would have a little phone reminder set to go off one time a day at a random time. And some people do this like every hour or whatever, but I think once is good for me. But, and it would say, is it soulful? Is it innovative? Is it, authentic? Whatever I wanted it to say there to remind me to check in just on how I was going through the activities I was engaged in, the conversations, who I was with, and how I was feeling. Deep, was this aligned? Because that alignment can slip away and kind of erode over time. Things are going to appear to be important. You're going to be told there are many, many pressing things that are important. And these, whether you have 7 essential filters or 3 questions or whatever, this will help you to identify where to invest your energy.